What's up, YouTube? Wanted to revisit the replacement of a window regulator in my 2004 BMW X5 and go over some things that I experienced that I didn't get quite on camera, but I wanted to fill you in because you may run into it if you tackle this job yourself. So let's take a look. Alright, so passenger side rear door. The 2004, some of the models have a privacy screen. This one happens to have it built in. That causes a little bit of complication and a little bit different method than you would normally use. One of the things that I found is I watched a video on how to remove it, found all the screws, took everything out. But when I tried to take the panel off, it was catching right here on this plastic piece. And I don't know if it needs to be twisted in a certain way or whatever, but I had to yank it quite a bit just to get it, loose. So that's one thing you may experience. So don't fret. I kept looking to see if there was a screw that I missed, but it was just this plastic piece which supports this was holding it in place. Morning. So I replaced the regulator. As you can see here, works fine, everything's great, followed the instructions, installed, but there was multiple failures with this system. So one, the cable gearing system, these wheels are plastic and they fail over time. So this, this truck is 15 years old, and it failed. This one had never been replaced. The motor was fine. So the motor from the original, the regulator is new. You can buy these with or without the motor. I opted for the without the motor because the motor was fine. But the problem, and this is another thing, little trick, the window switch I took out of the panel and plugged back in so that I could access and put the window up and down without having to go over to the driver's side every time I wanted to mess with it. And doing it from the driver's side, if you still have a problem, the glass will fall out and bang to the bottom of the well, which I'm afraid would break it. So this just pops right out with, there's just two little push clips here that hold it in place in the panel. So I just pushed them from the back and pushed it out the front, plugged it in, and it makes it easier to put the window up and down. So the issue that I had was, once I got the regulator in, was how to connect it to the glass, because the clip was still attached to the previous window regulator. So I removed it. I had thrown the regulator away, but I retrieved it before, and one of the plastic tabs was worn or broken on the regulator, and I didn't think it was a big deal, so I reused the part, and it just doesn't work. It goes up the first time. When it came down the first time, it slipped off the bracket and fell to the bottom. I've tried a bunch of different things to get it to hold in place. I used an anchor, and I'll show you the condition of it in a second. What I did was, I just went online and I ordered several new clips so that I'm working with. And as you can see, they have like I'll take one out in a minute. But they have a larger profile. This round section actually goes through the glass. There's a hole in the glass and holds it in place. And then I'm going to apply a hack that I saw on YouTube from a different YouTuber about how to hold this in place permanently. Okay, a couple other quick things. Whatever the adhesive is they use to hold the door panel, it's very, very gummy and sticky, and this liner doesn't want to stay together, wants to tear apart. So I'll put a couple tears in it, but I'm trying to keep it as intact as possible to reuse it, and I don't want to take it completely off. Problem is that it keeps flopping back into place. So hack, just put it in the door jamb with a piece of cardboard, holds it out of the way. The switch is behind here, so I can control the door, the window I should say. So you can see the regulator. Now there's a slot here, and to work on it you want to get this nut in a position in the center. Now, you'll see there's a screw there because I utilized the hack that I saw online with a license plate screw and an anchor versus just the clip, because the clip was broken. And I put some RTF on it and so forth. So it works. I'm just afraid it'll break over time. So I just went and bought the new clip. As you can see, I gummed it up with the, I used some of this excess material that they use, which is really gummy and sticky, to try to anchor it on the back. It just keeps, it was popping out. As I said before, purchased some of these clips. So purchase these clips, and you can see on the profile there's this piece that extends and this little lip, and this was all broken off of mine. So I just had this smaller section here that fits through the window, and this had broken off over time. So here's the flaw in the system. These are plastic, they wear over time, they're a wear part, and they're cheap. They're like $1 a piece. Bought them online. Maybe it was $6 or $7 for a set of 4. I bought extras because I'm sure I'm gonna have other problems. I have 2 cars, and you know, I've had to replace the regulators before, and they're expensive to do. Cheap when you do it yourself. The second thing that a YouTuber turned me onto was to fix them in place with license plate holders. So I went to Lowe's and got the 2. So I got the one that he'd recommended, and I got a slightly different one too. So he recommended using this H884270, which I was able to find for, I think it was $1.75. And then they also have this 884272, and you see this difference is just the back. This square section will fit inside the bracket, the opener, so it gives it extra anchoring and a better screw. And then this one has the same thing with a flange, and then it's got a nut on it versus just the screw. So I'm going to try one of both of these. Okay, so you can see the old bracket here with the screw. So I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'd used the license plate screw. I ended up reusing this little metal insert that goes inside the clip because the other one that I used was spinning around. It wasn't allowing me to tighten it. This is the old bracket, as I mentioned, with a bunch of goo on it. So you can see the profile. This is just basically broken and needed to be replaced. I was trying to limp through with this being RTF'd on with a little bit of lip that it had, and it works, and it probably would work for a while, but it just wasn't right. So I'm going to remove this material, and you can see I put a drywall anchor on the other side of it to try to give it a little bit more support. So the idea was utilize this bracket with some RTF with a screw that's longer that would go through this bracket on the side that attaches to the regulator and go into this anchor on the other side. And like I said, it works, but I think that the original brackets with the higher profile will work better. Okay, you can see I removed the anchor. I'm leaving the kind of gummy RTF on there because I think it was told. This is a strange bird to me anyway. So this bracket pops through the glass and holds in place there, but there's nothing to hold it. What happens is it slips off the end. So once if this little detail, this little ridge fails or pops out, then the window falls out. So I just figure it'll be better. And then the hack that I saw online is to utilize an anchor like this, and it actually, the one that I showed earlier, fits right inside So you saw those 4 little slots, you know, it fits right inside this. And what you're trying to do is attach, it'll probably be hard to see. And my camera won't pick it up. But there's a, Let's see if we're trying to focus there. So you can see the new bracket installed through the glass with the anchor. And what the anchor will do is it's an expansion anchor, and it'll just help put pressure gently against the inside of the window, the hole, with the RTF, and this should fix it forever. The old ones lasted 15 years. These should last forever. And then this screw will replace the other Achilles heel, as I understand it, of the BMW system is this screw. And pretty little machine screw with a wide head, but these things are torqued down to like 10,000 pounds. And you can see the profile is really small, so they're really difficult to take off. They break, they're soft aluminum, and I've heard horror stories about these. So we'll just replace that out with this just normal machine screw that's easy to replace, and is a little bit longer, that came with the anchor. Okay, so as you see, new clip with a license plate anchor held in place into the bracket. Start the car, and then make sure it has normal operation. What I'll also do is I want to lubricate these tracks with some lithium grease so that slide up and down easier, ease of operation, but this is working fine. And then what I'll also do is, like I said, these are wear parts. A couple of the trim clips that hold the panel on were broken before I even took the panel off, which I could have got away with without a couple of them, but just to do the job right, I ordered a set online with some plastic trim removal tools. You can use a screwdriver to remove the trim as long as you're careful. That's what I did, but now I've got a set of removal tools and also one of those nice metal pullers. So this came as a set from Amazon. It's pretty reasonable, and I'll be able to use these elsewhere. As you can see, probably looking for, it's probably this one, but we'll just line it up with one of the existing ones to see what I'm looking for. So here's one of the stock ones, and here is a replacement. Pretty close. Let's see, anything else in here that looks like it would match up? That's probably it. It's probably going to be these. So I'll utilize a couple of those to replace the couple that were missing. They're a little small. I wonder if these are better. Oh, that's what I got. So these are probably one size undersized for the application, but I will see how they work. All right, moment of truth with the repair. So everything should be done, buttoned up before I close up the door panel. Want to make sure it has smooth operation. So you can see the window's partially up here. Perfect. Perfect. Something didn't sound right. It popped out. See, this is the problem that I was having before. I'm gonna have to figure out why this thing pops out. It's on the upward stroke, and it pops out of the fixture. And I don't know why. I think it may be something to do inside the track here where it's just giving enough resistance. Oh, I can see. Oh, look here. It's on the outside of the trim. So I need to fix that. That's what's keeping it. So I think we've discovered the problem. This glass had fallen down inside. When I pushed it up, it might be outside of the this trim track. So let me fix it.